Bitcoin bounced from previous resistance and turned it into support, and this is looking like a bullish retest. On several time frames we are seeing a huge bullish signal for Bitcoin. In this video I will discuss everything about Bitcoin and what kind of bullish signals we are seeing now. I will also have a look at the two altcoins Thorchain RUNE and FetchAI. But about that later in the video. There's also a lot of interesting data coming in for the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, and also a lot of other interesting news is coming into the market. So watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. If we have a look on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin bounced from this lower side support around the $52,000 and came all the way back, broke this first big resistance to the top side, and now we are seeing a bit of a rejection coming into the market at the $58,000 resistance. We are now coming back at this lower side support again, and we are retesting this previous resistance as support, and it looks like this support is going to hold. So if this support is going to hold at the $56,000, we can speak of a bullish retest. And let's see if we can create more bullish momentum, and eventually we want to see some similar price action like this. And we want to break this next big resistance around the $58,000. So after this retest of this previous resistance as support, we can now aim for higher targets. So let's see if Bitcoin can break this huge horizontal resistance on the daily time frame. That would be of course very bullish. And zooming in on the 1 hour time frame gives us this formation. We are seeing this trend line resistance was unfolding. We saw multiple touch points here as resistance, and yesterday we broke bullish and we retested this previous resistance as support. So let's see if we can see some bullish continuation of the price for Bitcoin, because we are already seeing a bit of a bounce from this support level, and this is beautiful to see. So let's see if Bitcoin can separate itself from this support level and create more bullish price action in the coming hours. And yesterday was a very bullish day for the Bitcoin ETFs again. We saw an inflow of 117 million, so that is beautiful to see. And we are back above the total cumulative inflow of 17 billion in total. So that is looking bullish. And now we are seeing a little bit of a decrease for the total cumulative inflow. So let's see if we can see that spike to the top side again, just like we saw 3 times earlier in the history of the Bitcoin ETF. And also the Ethereum ETF finally saw a bullish day again. We saw an inflow of 11.5 million yesterday, so this is beautiful to see. And we can see that BlackRock and Fidelity are buying again, and that is beautiful to see. Grayscale didn't sell anything, so that is why we are seeing a positive day again. So if this trend continues for the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETF, we are in for a treat. And if we have a look on the 4 hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is currently at this big resistance level, and we need to break this level in order to become bullish. And this level will be around the $58,000, and we can see in the past a lot of touch points here, a lot of price interactions as resistance and support. And again, we're coming back to this resistance, so what we want to see of course is a bullish break of this resistance, and then we want to see a gain of this level, a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and there we can aim for higher targets. But before we are going to break through this resistance, we can see a little bit of a rejection. So let's see if Bitcoin can create more bullish price action and can see a gain of this horizontal level. So for now we are seeing a rejection, so we could also possibly go for lower levels. And of course we don't want to see Bitcoin go below this low, because otherwise we will have to aim for very low targets. And then we can come all the way back to this previous target around the $50,000, and this will be the last big support for Bitcoin on the horizontal levels. But on the 1 hour time frame we can see a little bit of a trend reversal happening for Bitcoin already. We are seeing this lower high structure with also multiple lower lows. We are now seeing a break of this trend, and we are now potentially creating a higher high. And of course we also want to create a higher low, and from there we need to create another higher high, and this would indicate a very big trend reversal for Bitcoin on the 1 hour time frame. And of course this is just on the 1 hour time frame, so on the shorter time frame we need to create a trend reversal already before we can even make a trend reversal on for instance the daily time frame. And it has to start somewhere, so this could be your signal to be more bullish about Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin is going to create a higher low from this level, in the higher low it is a very interesting place to buy more Bitcoin for the long term, because this trade is more risk free, because after this huge low we are creating a higher low, and that indicates a trend reversal for Bitcoin. So buying at these lows in the higher low structure is a very smart thing to do actually. And the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges is dropping very hard, as I was telling you about on my X channel. And this is very bullish for Bitcoin of course, because a lot of exchanges are running out of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And this is very interesting to see because this could cause a huge supply shock for Bitcoin, and this will pump up the price for Bitcoin, of course. And talking about Bitcoin on exchanges, El Salvador is buying 1 Bitcoin every day, and they were announcing that 2 years ago, and they are still buying every day. And this is how a perfect DCA portfolio looks like. Every day they are buying 1 whole Bitcoin, and in the end I think El Salvador will be one of the most interesting countries in the South America in the coming years, because they are buying Bitcoin like crazy, and this is exactly what you want to see. So let's see if other countries can follow their footsteps. And a couple of days ago, we can see on the daily chart Bitcoin bounced from this huge lower side support, and we can see multiple support touch points here in the past, and every time we touch this level we saw a nice bounce to the top side. So let's see if Bitcoin can create more bullish price action, because we now see a red candle for this day, and we want to see more bullish price action, and eventually we want to gain this downtrend. So eventually I think Bitcoin will break this downtrend, and we can aim for higher targets after that. But first we need to create a higher high from this previous high, and that would of course be the first big trend reversal for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. And this other formation on the daily time frame is very interesting to see. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and multiple touch points on the downside as support. And eventually this price of Bitcoin is getting squeezed into an apex, and eventually we will see a huge breakout. And this downward sloping falling wedge is a typical bullish bias pattern which tends to break to the top side more often. So let's see if Bitcoin can come back to this top side resistance, see a bullish break and retest the previous resistance as support, and from there we can potentially aim for higher targets, and then the top side of this formation will be confluent with the breakout target, and that will be around the $69,000. So that is very bullish to see if we're going to see a bullish break in the coming days for Bitcoin. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Thorchain RUNE. I was talking about Thorchain RUNE when we were in these lower sides of this huge falling wedge formation, and this falling wedge formation was unfolding. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and also on the downside as support. And finally we broke out of this huge falling wedge formation, and we are now seeing a beautiful bullish retest. So we are retesting the previous resistance as support, and from there we are already seeing a big bounce from this level. So this is looking very bullish to see actually. But we can also see this huge horizontal level is coming into play for Thorchain RUNE, and then we need to see a break of this level, because this is the most important resistance for Thorchain RUNE to break. And if RUNE is going to break this level bullish, we can expect more bullish price action in the coming days and weeks. And eventually this top side of the falling wedge will be confluent with the breakout target, and that will be around the $9.50. So let's see what Thorchain RUNE can bring us in the coming days. And for now we are running into this big horizontal resistance, so this will be the first big level to break for RUNE. And another interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is FetchAI. I've been talking about FetchAI since we are also at these lower stages at this huge horizontal support, because this horizontal support was coming into play a couple of weeks ago. And we also saw this huge falling wedge formation unfolding for Fetch. We saw multiple touch points on the top side and also on the downside as support. And we're also seeing these huge horizontal levels coming into play for Fetch. So these are the levels to gain or to hold for to see more bullish price action. And we are also seeing a couple of weeks ago we broke out of this falling wedge formation. We saw a very bullish spike to the top side, and we also broke above this huge horizontal resistance area. And as we can see, we are seeing a bullish retest, because we are retesting previous resistance as support, and now we are seeing a bullish separation from this level. So this could indicate a huge trend reversal. And let's see if Fetch can create more higher highs and higher lows, and eventually this will be the next big resistance to break for Fetch. That will be around $1.8. So this is looking very bullish for Fetch on the higher time frame. And let me know in the comments if you're still holding Fetch, and if you think Fetch could be very interesting in the coming bull market. Please give a like if you find this video useful. Follow me on my other social platforms, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.